This is the second episode of the famous people who passed away in 1754. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Martin Fox. He was born in October 1690 and he died in June 1754. His age was 63 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British antiquarian and mathematician who succeeded Isaac Newton as president of the Royal Society and advanced numismatics and ancient studies. Fox was a prominent Freemason, being appointed Deputy Grand Master of the Premier Grand Lodge of England during the year 1724 and 1725. In 1733, he set out on a tour through Italy, in the course of which he composed his dissertations on the weights and values of ancient coins before the Society of Antiquaries, of which he was president from 1749 to 1754. Sir John Strange. He was born in 1696 and he died in May 1754. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British lawyer, politician, and judge who served as Master of the Rolls, contributing to equity law and the organization of the English judiciary. He was appointed Solicitor General for England and Wales on 28 January 1737 and was made a Member of Parliament for West Lothian to allow him to make his position. He became Recorder of London in November 1739, and on 12 May 1740 he was knighted, along with Dudley Ryder, the Attorney General for England and Wales, who resigned as Member of Parliament for West Lothian in 1741. John Wood the Elder. He was born in 1704 and he died in May 1754. His age was 50 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an English architect working mainly in Bath. In 1740, he surveyed Stonehenge and the Stanton Jewstone circles. He later wrote extensively about Bloodwood and Neo-Druidism. Because of some of his designs, he is also thought to have been involved in the early years of Freemasonry. He was a prominent British architect who transformed Bath with his Georgian designs, including the iconic Queen Square and the Circus. He has been described by Nikolaus Pafner as one of the outstanding architects of the day. Lord Archibald Hamilton. He was born in 1673 and he died in April 1754. His age was 81 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Royal Navy officer, nobleman, and Whig politician who sat in the House of Commons from 1708 to 1747. In the 1690s, he was active in the English Channel pursuing French privateers, including Tigre, out of St. Malo. Hamilton commanded the third-rate HMS Boyne at the Battle of Vigo Bay in October 1702, and then commanded the third-rate HMS Eagle at the Battle of Malaga in August 1704 during the War of Spanish Succession. He was a controversial governor of Jamaica. Hamilton then joined the Board of Admiralty. Thomas Cartay. He was born in 1686 and he died in April 1754. His age was 68 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was diabetes. He was an English historian with Jacobite sympathies who served as a Church of England clergyman. He is best known for his detailed and royalist learning history of England, which emphasized the Stuarts' role in England history. He started work on the life of James Duke of Ormond. He obtained an important collection of letters from Charles Butler, 1st Earl of Arran. He published the letters in 1735 as Volume 3 so that references could be made to them with correct page numbers. He then published volumes 1 and 2, in 1736. Christian Wolff. He was born in January 1679 and he died in April 1754. His age was 75 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a German philosopher. Wolff is characterized as one of the most eminent German philosophers between Leibniz and Kant. His life work spanned almost every scholarly subject of his time, displayed and unfolded according to his demonstrative, deductive, mathematical method, which some deem the peak of Enlightenment rationality in Germany. A leading philosopher of the Enlightenment who advanced rationalist thought and influenced fields from metaphysics to law and economics, he was also a member of many academies. Solomon Amelin. He was born in December 1697 and he died in June 1754. His age was 56 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a British legal writer, recognized for his influential treatises on English law and its interpretation. He was anxious for reforms of the law and very forcibly pointed out the defects in the system as then practiced. He remarked in 1730 on the tediousness and delays of civil suits, the exorbitant fees to counsel, whereto the cost recovered bear no proportion, the overgreat nicety of special pleadings, the scandal of the ecclesiastical courts and criminal law. He objected to the forced unanimity of the jury. Jose de Carvajal Lancaster. He was born in 1698 and he died in April 1754. His age was 56 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Spanish statesman who played a pivotal role in domestic and foreign policy under Ferdinand IV, particularly in Bourbon reforms. He formed the Royal Mail and in 1752 founded definitively the Real Academia, the Bellas Artes de San Fernando. The King Ferdinand IV appointed him the first Secretary of State that same year and carried out a neutrality policy. In 1750, he signed the agreement between Spain and Portugal that finished the disputes over the borders of Rio de la Plata and Brazil. Enriquesar Esin. He was born in June 1680 and he died in June 1754. His age was 73 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Scottish minister whose actions led to the establishment of the Secession Church, a theologian best known for founding the Secession Church, a movement for religious independence and reform. The majority of his published works are sermons. His life and diary was published in 1840. His works were published in 1785 in the United States, part of the Associate Presbyterian Church, united with most of the Reformed Presbyterian Church in 1782, forming the Associate Reformed Presbyterian Church. Jacopo Riccati. He was born in May 1676 and he died in April 1754. His age was 77 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Venetian mathematician and jurist from Venice. He is best known for having studied the equation which bears his name, an Italian mathematician best known for Riccati differential equation, a fundamental contribution to field of calculus and analysis. He was often consulted by Senate of Venice on the construction of canals and dikes along rivers. Some of his work on polynomials was included by Maria Gaetana Agnesi at Riccati's request in the book on integral calculus of her analytical institutions. Marie Caroline von Fuchs-Mollert. She was born in January 1675 and she died in April 1754. Her age was 73 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was an Austrian courtier who served as governess to Empress Maria Theresa and played an influential role in her education and upbringing. Marie Caroline came to the imperial court as lady-in-waiting of the future Queen Consort of Portugal, Maria Anna of Austria, the daughter of Leopold I, Holy Roman Emperor. Empress Elizabeth Christine entrusted the Countess with the education and upbringing of her daughter, Maria Theresa. Countess Fuchs taught her etiquette and practically raised her. Maria Theresa developed a notably close relationship with Countess Fuchs. Maria Teresa Feletti Testeste. She was born in October 1726 and she died in April 1754. Her age was 27 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. She was a princess of Modena by birth and Duchess of Pancieva by marriage. She was the mother-in-law of Philippe Égalité and thus grandmother to the future Louis Philippe of France, an Italian noblewoman, Duchess Consort, remembered for her charitable works and her role in French and Italian aristocracy. Her parents' marriage was not happy and her mother eventually returned to her native France. The Duchess took up residence in the Luxembourg Palace in Paris with the permission of Louis XV. Pierre-Claude Nivelle de la Chaussée. He was born in February 1692 and he died in May 1754. His age was 62 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a French dramatist who blurred the lines between comedy and tragedy with his Comédie Larmoyante, a French playwright known for developing tearful comedy, blending humor and sentimentality in theater. The innovation consisted in destroying the sharp distinction then existing between tragedy and comedy in French literature. In 1731, he published an Épître de Cléo, a didactic poem in defense of l'Érégé de la Fée in his dispute with Antoine Houdard de la Motte, who had maintained that verse was useless in tragedy. Nikolai VIII. He was born in June 1701 and he died in June 1754. His age was 53 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Danish architect. He introduced and was a leading proponent of the French Rococo and late Baroque style in Danish architecture during the 1730s and 1740s. He designed and built some of the most prominent buildings of his time, a number of which is still standing. He also played an important role in the establishment of Royal Danish Academy of Art and was the first native-born leader. He introduced Rococo style to Copenhagen, notably through his work on Amalienborg Palace. Charles-Guillaume Lois de Bourchat. He was born in December 1695 and he died in April 1754. His age was 58 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was a Swiss jurist and antiquarian, a Swiss scholar noted for his research on Swiss constitutional law and his contributions to the study of federalism. From 1721, he taught law at the Lausanne Academy, where he acted as rector from 1727 to 1730. In 1738, he proposed to transform the academy into a full university without success. His work is dedicated to examining the early history of Switzerland, especially the Gaulish Helvetii and their legacy in Swiss toponymy. Johann Baptist Martinelli. He was born in February 1701 and he died in June 1754. His age was 53 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. He was an Austrian architect and Baumeister of Italian descent. He was born in Vienna, the son of architect Franz Martinelli, in cooperation with his brother Anton Erhard Martinelli. He designed the plans of several Baroque churches in the Habsburg Empire, including the churches in Großwickersdorf, the Holy Trinity Cathedral in Bloch, and the church in Dunalmas. He also designed several mansions, among which the one in Dolna Krupa. He was known for his Baroque designs in Vienna, including religious and civic buildings. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.